Thanks for joining in practice today. So let's just get going. Really stretch out that spine long and tall. Breathe in, reach up, and breathe out. Out the mouth. Breathe in through the nose and out the mouth. A few more times this way. And gently roll through the shoulders. Move through the rib cage. Take it down to the belly and gently rock through the hips. And we'll go from the top down again. Start from the head. Let that head gently move as it stretches off of the neck. And then movement spilling into the shoulders. Just feel the natural motion that you find. And then moving down through the chest, the ribs, into the upper belly, low belly, and then down to the hips. And then we'll build from the bottom up. Okay, so I'm starting rocking. So as you feel this rocking, there should be a sensation at some point of coming into the sits bones, right? And as you feel that, then begin to settle down as though you're planting a seed in the dirt. And feel the tailbone lengthening downward. Now, as the mind starts connecting to the physical body, some really beautiful things happen. One, it creates interest and sometimes difficulty in feeling parts of the body. The other thing it does is it starts enhancing a calming effect, which is a beautiful, natural way that we are designed. So as you drop the tailbone towards the floor, notice if the seat can almost melt like a stick of butter when you put it in a pan and the pan starts to warm. Initially, you don't see anything happening, and then you kind of have to step back. And then slowly, you start noticing the butter begin to melt. So just take a few moments using the breath to melt the seat into the floor. If you notice that your eyes naturally close, let that happen. And as the seat tries to melt into the floor, gently start lifting the belly button upward. Now, if you were to throw a fishing line into the water, right, it's that gentle tug to get a little bit of motion going. Try to do that with the belly button area. And then take the mind's eye right around the diaphragm dome. And if you were to look up into your rib cage as though it was a beautiful large parachute, see if you can float the sensation of the ribs upward as the tailbone is reaching downward. And here, take a moment. Inside the rib cage, notice what moves every time a breath comes in and every time a breath comes out, just to get a sense of how the physical container is moving to accommodate the breath. And take a moment and let the shoulders come up to the ears and feel that space closing between the ears and the shoulders. And then go the other way. Start to melt the shoulders down the back and begin to lift the head upward. And notice if you can create some more room between the ears and the shoulders. And over the next few minutes, you may start noticing a sense of warmth just in aligning the body. And in many lineages, we're talking about the core body as all the connections that are very close to the spinal system. And that feedback, both the neural feedback, the respiratory feedback, the circulatory feedback, all of the systems of the body. If we can think of it strengthening and originating from the inside and then radiating outward, then we start moving into subtle body energy. And the subtle body really is something that we can't see, but it is the myofascial system. It is the electricity that runs as movement happens in the body. And then that affects the gross body, what we see, the skin, muscle, bones. So for a moment, taking a journey from the inside of the body outward. Let the tailbone drip to the ground. Let the crown of the head lift to the sky. And begin to notice that subtle play of a bit of pushing and pulling upward and downward. Let the belly button gently lift upward. Let the tip of the tongue gently float upward and place behind the top of the teeth. As the body breathes, see if the ribs and the chest can expand outward on the inhale. And then on the exhale, gently hug back into the body. And with that rhythm, can it also be brought to other parts of the body? As the ribs expand, let the space between the eyebrows expand. As the exhale brings a gentle hugging inward, let the shoulder blades hug down the back. And if we start putting all of these different elements together, hopefully it gives a lot of different things to choose from. So some things stick, some things don't. Seat melting like butter in a warming pan. Crown of the head lifting to the sky. Belly button gently lifting upward towards the rib cage as the shoulders simultaneously melt down the back. Expansion outward, creating and taking up more space on the inhale, literally expanding volume. On the exhale, gently hugging inward. And as the body begins to align and create more space for the breath, observing the breath, how deep is the inhale? Can you pause between the inhale and the exhale? How deep is the exhale? Can you pause between the exhale and the inhale? A few more breaths this way. And as we pay attention to the breath, it usually slows down. Okay? Interlace the fingers, gently stretch long and tall, and begin to arc off of the ribs. So lifting upward to the sky and then peeling away off to the side. Lifting up to the sky and peeling away off to the side. On this next lifting up, breathe in and then hold the breath. Tighten up the body, tense it up, make everything squeeze, except for the face. And then on a conscious exhale, peel off to one side. When the exhale isn't complete, then hold, breathe in and expand again. And when the exhale comes, peel away a little more. And let's try one more, breathing in, expanding, breathing out, peeling away. Now the inhale, move it back up to center, And the exhale, lower the arms or keep the arms lifted. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. The inhale, stretching long and tall. The exhale begins to peel the rib cage and the rest of the upper body over. On the next inhale, another big expansion reaching away. And then the exhale, settling in and peeling off. One more big inhale, stretching as much, expanding as much as possible. And then the exhale, gently peeling away. Taking the inhale, moving the body on center. Exhale, let the arms go down by the side. Ha. Okay. And now let's take 3 deep breaths where we breathe in through the nose, exhale out the mouth, open up the tongue. Now, called lion's breath, you scrunch up your face, and this also is very nice for opening up the face. It's like an exercise for the face itself. As a breath practice, it takes the air in, and it just feels like a big release. A few more like that. And shake it out. Open up the legs and open up the arms. Okay? So bringing tension into the legs, knees are pointing upward, toes are pointing upward. Now the legs can be slightly bending or straightened out. It will depend on how your low back feels. Okay? So tailbone is down, ribs are floating, arms are parallel to the floor, palms are up. So there's a lot of holding here. And then we want to find where is the ease. Okay? So twisting the body, the inhale, one arm twists and reaches forward, one will reach back. As you do this on the inhale, should challenge the breath. The exhale is lifting upward. The inhale, expand the body on the twist. And the exhale, lift upward. Another one. Inhale, expanding on that twist. Exhale, lift the belly button upward, and then gently unwind. Always drop your arms when they get tired. Always leave your arms up if you'd like to add more muscle action into the practice of the breath. Twisting the other way, the inhale. As the body twists, trying to breathe into that twist, and then the exhale, lifting upward from the belly. Inhale, expanding the breath on that twist, and then the exhale, lifting the belly upward. And one more this way, deep inhale on that twist, and then the exhale, gently lift the belly button upward, and then inhale, untwist, exhale, arms overhead. Bringing the hands together and down on center, pushing into the fingertips and pulling the elbows apart. Now, if I were to hunch my shoulders up, right, push the shoulders down, press the elbows wide away as the hands and the fingertips are very strongly pressing in. And hold this pressure, and we'll begin with a little bit of breath of fire. So as the hands are pressing, the elbows are pushing away, the shoulders are pressing down, the belly button's lifting up, the knees are up, the feet are flexed, or not. Breath of fire through the nose is a concentration on the exhale. It's blowing out the nose like blowing out a candle. The inhale comes naturally. The stomach tries to pump as the breath practice is in action. And you just do whatever works. Okay, we're going to try. This is a lot of holding here. 33 breaths of fire. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Open up the hands wide, stretch out the arms. Palms up, belly button up, shoulders down. Press the heels away, knees up, shoulder blades down. Stretch the arms away, crown of head up, tailbone down. Hold this for 5 deep breaths. Mouth closed if you can. And after 5 deep breaths, gently soften the body and begin to crawl the fingers forward. Bow the nose towards the heart. And as you stretch forward, find your stretch that works for you. Very important to allow a little tension, but avoid pain. Belly button pulls back to protect the low back. Knees try to stay pointing upward, bowing the nose towards the chest. Soften the body and just notice what moves in this forward fold over the next 3 breaths. Then move the upper body over to one side, looking towards the knee. And a few deep breaths in this bow. And then moving over to the other side. Now this movement is taking some deep stretching through the hips, through the low back. Let the nose point to the knee. A few soft body, deep breaths in the stretch. Coming on back to center, and use the hands to support the body as the spine unrolls from the tailbone all the way up into the base of the skull. 3 deep breaths. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, arms down by the side. 2 more. And then shake out the legs, bring them into the center. Bend the knees, lift the heart, bring the hands in front of the shins or behind the thighs, and begin to balance the body, starting to create Narvasana, boat pose. So feel those sits bones planting, lift the belly button upward, try to lift the heart up, get the elbows wide. So instead of leaning back to lift the feet, imagine sitting against the wall and pulling back to get the toes up. Now from here, adding the extension of the feet or the arms is the weightlifting part. No pain here. If there is any pain in the low back, put the feet down and work on lifting the heart up, work on lifting the belly button up. Now, as you're ready, find your Narvasana that makes you realize you are holding Narvasana and you can feel the action in the body, keeping the pose steady. 33 breaths of fire, add on. And then release entirely. Let the body gently stretch out and unwind. And begin to laterally arc the body. Let the seat come off the floor if it naturally does. Let the seat stay on the ground if it naturally does. And as the body begins to feel this lateral arcing motion, then let's add a little thoughtfulness to it of keeping the seat down, lifting the under part of the curve up, Let the arm be in line with the ear, and then build the lift, the stretch away, and maybe add a twist at the cervical spine. Notice how the breath moves through the shape. And on an inhale, come back to center, exhale, let it go. Other side, begin to build that arc. Tailbone planting, under waist lifting upward, keeping the arm in line with the ear. So on this arc, the under curve is lifting up, the outer curve is reaching up and away. The arm in line with the ear is going to create a little more excitement through the muscle bodies of the side waist. And as you feel this arc stretching and building, add the twist at the cervical spine, looking upward to the hand, and breathing through the shape of the body. On an inhale, let that shape release. On an exhale, settle on center. Then coming into table pose. So table pose on the knees, letting the belly button lift up, the head and the tailbone drop, and then pushing the belly button down and letting the tailbone and nose lift upward. So the belly is either pushing up from underneath, where the head and the neck softly hang off, or the belly is going to stretch and push down as the tailbone and nose reach upward. And as we undulate the spine here, keep attention to the belly lifting upward and the belly pressing downward, so that there is a nice almost tension through the abdominals as we feel the spine gently taking this forward bend and back bend. Now, if you add the breath here, maybe the inhale, the belly button is lifting upward, and then the exhale, the belly button is gently pressing downward. Find your breath pattern and complete 5 more movements in the breath pattern that comes naturally. Once those 5 breaths are complete, then another 5 movements of the body where you switch your breath. So if the inhale was drawing the belly upward, that becomes the exhale. And if the exhale previously was pushing the belly downward, then that's the in-breath. And you notice on the second 5 breaths how that conscious breathing feels in relationship to what would be considered an auto breath. Good. Taking the tailbone back to the heels, gently reaching the crown forward and bowing down. Here, back body breathing. Notice the movement on the chest and the belly, and then try to make the movement of the body be more through the back muscles, so that when you breathe in, you feel more movement on the side, the waist, the back, the upper shoulders, even down towards the seat, where the chest and the belly movement is less. And as you find that movement of the muscles, bring in the Ujjayi breath, the whisper of the letter H, mouth closed, expanding deeply through the inhale, gently contracting deeply through the exhale. Releasing this breath, releasing this pose. Let the hands support underneath the weight of the body. Gently plant the tailbone and try to stack one vertebrae on top of the other. letting the head be the last part that aligns on top of the spine. And then 3 lion's breaths. Coming up on the knees, reaching the arms up to the sky, and pushing the thighs forward, lifting the ribs and the heart upward to the sky, building on a camel, either planting the toes or keeping the toenails down, maybe having the arms lifted, maybe having the arms on the low back. And let this be a slow build. So imagine that from the knees to the hips are your pillars, and they are planted and they are pushing forward. Then let the belly button begin to pull upward to the heart, and sometimes even putting the hand on the heart, lifting the heart up. No pain in the low back. Let the shoulders release away from the ears. Let the face be soft. If the hands are going to support the low back, that heart tilts up. Now the chin can drop forward if that releases tension, or the neck may want to peel off of the lifting heart and the head peeling away. Some people will bring the hands back to the feet. Some people's heads will go back to their feet. So in this dynamic stretch and in this posture of building the pillars of foundation so that the midsection can open, letting the heart peel back. And once you find your camel pose that keeps you attentive to keeping the shape of the body held and open, 9 deep breaths with ujjayi if possible. And if breathing here is challenged, try to figure out a way to allow deep breathing to happen. Adjust the shape to accommodate the breath, and let the breath build and strengthen the shape of the body. A few more deep breaths. And try to come out of the pose the way we came in. If the head is reaching back, gently bring the head back on top of the shoulders. Let the shoulders come onto the ribs. Let the ribs stabilize over the hips. And bring the arms up overhead for a moment and feel an alignment of the spine, as though the spine and the lifting arms are like a string of pearls. Whether the spine becomes straight or not, we do have some nice deep curvature. Focus instead on feeling the natural position of your spine as it is right now, and creating space between each of those structural bones, allowing the juiciness and the connective tissue to stretch in between the solid. A few more breaths this way. And if possible, let the exhale bring the hands down. And if possible, let another exhale bring the body down. Coming into pointer pose, pointer, fingers, tips rooted into the floor, pressing down, lifting the belly and even arching the back a little bit, and then finding a nice tabletop. And this may be plenty. If you add more, let the left hand press the floor as the right hand reaches forward, left leg reaches back. And here it's a play. reaching the hand and leg out, lifting the belly up, pushing through the supporting hand, trying to find your own intersecting lines, breathing deeply, and then releasing. Take it back to child's pose. In the nose, out the mouth. And again. And one more. On the inhale, rise the table, starting over, fingertips planted into the ground, feeling the shoulders over the wrists. Notice how the belly is supporting the table. And then when you're ready, building momentum, press through the right hand, reach the left hand forward, reach the right leg back. And again, play this build. Can that hand on the floor hold and build structure? Can the belly button lift? Can the arms and legs stretch away? And as we start playing with our own balance and try to feel the intersecting lines through the spinal system, through all the muscles that hug. A few more deep breaths. And then undo, release, soften. Into child's pose, breathing in the nose and out the mouth. Couple more this way. Let the inhale rise the tailbone. Let the exhale bring the body down on the floor, belly down, arms reaching forward, and legs gently reaching back, toenails pointing downward. On the inhale, lift the legs, lift the arms, and hold. On the exhale, feel this lift. Inhale, lift the legs maybe a little more, lift the arms a little more. On the exhale, feel that lift. And over the next few inhales and exhales, can the inhale float the body up? Can the exhale feel that? Now moving on, the inhale may feel funky. Imagine relying on the inhale as the nourishment, and the exhale is seeing what was created. Inhale, build, nourish. Exhale, notice. A few more breaths this way. And when you're ready, release to the floor, one ear to the ground. Gently lift the head, turn the other way, and a few breaths with the other ear, gently resting to the floor. Nice deep twist through the neck. Then inhale, lift the head slightly. Reach the left arm forward in front of you. Put your left ear on your left arm. The right hand is going to be like a kickstand by the chest and align the body on the side. So we have the left leg down, the right leg on top, left arm extended, right arm is holding. Now this is a fun game. It should be silly. Reach the right leg and let it float. Okay. Then lift the left leg and let it float. Lift the head and let it float. Lift the left arm and let it float. Lift the right arm and let it float. The good news is, right, you're not too far away from the floor, and let that fly and feel that balance. Okay, good. And then release. Then roll over onto your other side. And use that rolling on the floor as some nice feedback, some nice support. Right arm will extend, right ear rest on the right arm. And then I'm kind of coming onto that hip on the side, left leg's on top. using my left hand as a kickstand and just aligning on the side. And then when we're ready, lift the left leg, let it float. Lift the right leg, let it float. Lift the head, let it float. Lift the right arm, let it float. And lift the left arm, and then balance as you float and breathe. And then lowering the legs, lowering the arms, and then coming on to the back. Let the hands be above the head, reaching away. Flex the feet for a moment. And on the inhale, stretch the middle fingers away from the heels. Stretch the heels away from the middle fingers. And when that inhale is complete, pause the breath. And then exhale out the mouth. Soften the body. Inhale, start stretching, create the tension. Over the next few breaths, keep the body tense now. Pull the belly button down, reach the fingers away, pull the heels away, push the shoulders to the floor, blow bubbles with the mouth so the face is soft. And push and pull and squeeze and tighten as the breath tries to stay nice and slow and even. And then when you're ready, exhale, release all the tension, soften. Bend the knees, keep the feet on the floor. Keep the arms now wide as a T. So on this breath, inhale, lift the knees towards the chest. Exhale, heels towards the side. Inhale, toes to the sky. Exhale, knees bend to the chest. Inhale, flex the feet. Exhale, heels to the sky. Inhale, toes to the sky. Exhale, knees bend onto the chest. Inhale, flex the feet. Exhale, heels to the sun. Inhale, toes to the sun. Exhale, knees to the chest. Inhale, hug the knees and gently roll side to side. Feel the gentle pressure of the weight of the body into the floor. Notice the movement of rolling on the spine, side to side. Some people may want to roll forward and back. Just a little gentle pressure, and then rolling to the side to come and sit tall. Gently stretching out the body, stretching long and tall, arcing over to the sides. Add a couple of lifting twists. Scoop the belly back and push the belly forward. And now moving into Bakista Breath. So this one will be fierce. It's in the fire breaths. It's meant to be hot. It's meant to be deep. It gives a lot of feedback to watch once we're finished. We're going to go for 333 breaths. And it actually goes pretty quickly. So in Bakista Breath, this one is a very powerful inhale through the mouth and then an exhale as well. So the mouth is very much like a tube. And even keeping the shape of the mouth can be funky. Sometimes you get the chipmunk breath. Don't worry about that. It's quick, okay? And with all of the elements, there's just a lot to play with. So it's a fierce inhale, fierce exhale. The mouth is positioned kind of like a hose. The belly tries to pump with the movement of the breath. And just have a good time. Now with Breath of Fire, if it gets too difficult, it is hard to breathe that way. But if you reach a point where you literally cannot breathe, right, then you know your cup is full, okay? So you go for as long as you can. You pause when it makes sense to pause. Keep going when it makes sense to keep going. So for this one, the fingers will be folded, the thumbs will be released. This is going to add, it's just going to add on. So if you feel the muscles on your back when your arms are reaching high to the sky, okay, just feel those muscles through the body. Then notice what it feels like to have your arms parallel and your thumbs up. Okay. If you split the difference at a 45-degree angle, you may notice that this collection of muscles and this collection of muscles kind of all come together. If this is too much, hands are down. Okay. So, okay. 333, have fun. Here we go. Keep going. Energize that body. Breathing is an athletic event. Hopefully you're feeling a lot of different things. And then peel it away. Lick the lips and swallow. If the arms are lifted, gently notice what that feels like to let the arms go down. And start to build now easy pose. Letting the tailbone drip downward, let the belly button lift upward. Let the shoulders drip downward. Let the heart reach upward and open. Let the tip of the tongue float behind the top teeth. Let the chin gently draw inward towards the throat. And for a moment, take attention to the face. Let the eyebrows open wide. Let the crown of the head lift to the sky. And then notice every sensation that moves through the body. Now moving into a deep, slower, steadier breath. And if it is helpful, hands across the chest and across the belly, and make that contact so that when you breathe in, there's a deep, slow expansion. And then the pause as the exhale is that deep release and hugging in. And as the breath slows down And maybe as you notice more feedback from the inside of the vessel, notice how your sit feels. Notice how your breath feels. Notice how you are breathing in this moment. And then as a last practice within this sequence, the knowing. So as the tail drips down and the heart opens wide, as the belly button lifts to create an extension through the spine and settling in. And these are just questions of possibility. Is it possible that our own feeling of balance and stability, grounding, could affect how we feel? Is it possible that how we feel could influence our actions? Is it possible that our actions could have impact on how we give love and receive love? Is it possible that our exchange of giving and receiving love could impact our internal communication and our external communication? Is it possible that how we communicate inside of ourselves and outwardly to others could have an impact on how we see things? And is it possible that how we see things could impact what we believe to be true? And if any of these things are possible, then that becomes the platform for practicing. So if we take those possibilities and translate them and transfer them and transform them into the physical body, into the breathing body, into the thinking body, Muladhara is the root. Our sense of grounding muscularly, where we stabilize. Svastisthana is the cluster through the low belly. Svastisthana is fluidity, connection. Above Svastisthana, Manipura, the engine to the breath, the fire of the belly, action, purpose. Anahata, the interweavings of the heartbeat, the lung action, the connections through the spinal system and the muscular attachments. This is a complicated area. It's a complicated area. A lot of interweavings. Vishuddha, where the throat and shoulders intersect, area of the voice box. Sahasrara, one of the most intelligent parts of our entire system. And then Agnya, space between the eyes, where the pituitary gland is. So if we look at the anatomy of the body, if we look at the systems of the body, and then we work all of that from the inside out. And thank you for joining in practice today. And if we can close on recognizing 3 deep breaths. It is pure, It is simple, and it is joy. Thank you so much for your time. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. Take good care. Breathe deeply. Breathe well.